Hello and welcome to another episode of the Veterans Corner. My name is Chuck Woodin. I'll be your host, joined by my co-host, Kat Zigwolf. Kat is an Army veteran. She's part of the crew, and it's great to have you. Great to have you, Kat.
Good to be here.
Donna's usually there. I was just going to say something, but she couldn't make it tonight. And as always, you stepped up, and it's going to be a great night. We have with us tonight an organization out of the southeast corner of the state. It's called Everlasting Veterans. And actually, we had a show not too long ago, and we wanted to make sure that we didn't get a chance to touch on a lot of the stuff that we wanted to touch on. So we wanted to bring them back. This is going to be a two-part episode, and actually this right here is part two. The first part, we talked about the podcast and all the other stuff. Hopefully our viewers will see that also. This is going to be, we're going to be talking about the dogs. So for the viewers, you're going to see and hear some dogs in the background. It's not your set, it's not your neighbors, it's here. So yeah, we got one. Yeah.
On cue.
On cue. So let's introduce our guests. We've got Ryan Landry. He's the owner and founder of Everlasting Veterans. And we also have Tom Smith.
Hi.
Welcome back to both of you. Tom is the owner of, and I did this without my glasses, Meadow Ridge Weimers and Danes. Weimaraners. Once again, the viewers know I mess up names and everything else on a regular basis. I was closer this time than the last.
And he happens to have one right now in his arm. It's so tiny you can't even see it. But
Nice and quiet.
wait,
We have a lot of information to get into. One thing I wanted to mention, Kat, was we had somebody on the crew for 4 years, give or take. Liz Crawford,
Yes.
Elizabeth Crawford.
yeah.
She was the director of the show. She moved on. We want to thank her. She did an amazing job. She was the voice in my ear, keeping me in line all the time. Sit up straight, smile,
Yep.
and so on and so forth. But we want to thank her for dedicated service. We're all volunteers. She did a lot of traveling during the course of the day, between her home to work to here. So a special thanks to Lizzie. Great job. We'll miss you. I'm sure we'll see you again. So with that being said, let's jump into this because we have a lot to cover.
All right, so we'll start with, when did you get interested in donating dogs to veterans?
So it was back last June. I talked with my brother-in-law who owns Rockin' Frenchies, who's a breeder as well. And, he kind of came up with the idea back and forth with me to, donate a dog. There was a veteran event in North Carolina coming up, a 2-day event. And he said, why don't we donate a dog? And I started researching on how we can make it a service dog to be able to help veterans with purpose in their everyday activities. And that all started back last June of 2023. And to date, we've donated 5 dogs in 5 months with the help of Meadow Ridge, Weimers and Danes. And it's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
And then what was the mission? You expanded it, didn't you, into first responders in general, if I understand right?
Yeah, so it's not just for veterans. First responders go through similar incidents like veterans do on deployments.
Yes.
And having a service dog when you come home can be that companion that takes all those emotions from your day, from your shift, from whatever you're going through, and it channels into the dog. Yeah. Anybody that has a pet, really it's a family member. And the service dog aspect of it with the psychiatric service dogs, PSD certification, it helps the veteran and or first responder a little bit more to be able to get through what they're going, because the dog will queue up on those needs.
Yes.
a firefighter for several years, sometimes you just can't put into words what you're feeling, but that dog gets right into you and you're like, okay, I can do this.
Right. Exactly.
I don't need words.
I mean, we've had a few shows over the course of over the years. I mean, the show's been going on since 2013. This show actually is 284, I think it is. 284 episodes. We've done a lot of things with equine, horses, and animals play a very important role when it comes to PTSD.
Yeah, absolutely a vital role. And I've talked to many ranches across country, all the way down to Florida. There's one here in Connecticut, Equine Therapy. They do amazing work as well. And it's one thing with, anybody that's going through any mental health aspect of things, PTSD, anxiety. There's something with animals. They understand what you're going through, and they can almost feel what you're going through. And that's why the service dog aspect was so important, making sure it's structured well and convenient for veterans to be able to do the training, with the dog. And, we place the dogs early on most times. 8 weeks old is the earliest you can place the dog. That way they're getting acclimated with the veteran. They're getting acclimated with their family. And then the training can start immediately. And it's a great thing. It provides, immediate purpose. Whereas if you didn't have that, you'd be sitting by yourself.
It's amazing with the animals. It's almost an immediate bond. It's one thing that I forgot to do when we opened up the show. What do we always do? Service.
Oh, yes.
If I remember right, veteran, right?
Yes.
Not a veteran.
Not a veteran, but we'll get to that in a second. Ryan, could you tell the viewers of what branch and just when you served?
Yeah, so I started out on active duty back in 2009 with 2nd Cavalry Regiment in Germany, and I deployed with them to Afghanistan. And then, my calling to do something else and have a family and settle down, it's time to get out, and went the National Guard route. And I was with the 103rd out of Rhode Island up until 2017 when I officially completely got out. So, and I was with the United States Army.
Thank you very much for your service. On behalf of the viewers, us here, thank you. Obviously to you too.
Army, 9 years, 9 days.
Tom, one thing we always tell those that you're sitting here.
Yes.
You're sitting here. You got 3 veterans right here, and I know I speak for these two that the role that you play is just as important. You may not have, served, but you're serving now.
Yes.
So, to you, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And everything you do for the veteran community.
Thank you.
It's very important. Where do these dogs come from? I mean, I know it is. You've got a number of them right here, right
Yes.
now. Where do you get them?
So for the Frenchie that's there is actually one of the ones from my brother-in-law, Rockin' Frenchies.
Yeah.
He's one of the breeders that I'm paired with. And then the rest of these beautiful animals, so you can see one sleeping with Teresa there, and this one here is with Tom and Teresa with Meadow Ridge.
Yes.
And they can tell you more about their breeding program and
So
how it all operates.
Yep. So we breed Weimaraners and Great Danes. We started with Weimaraners. This is Luna. We just picked her up this weekend, and she's very camera shy and tired. Teresa over there has 2 of our Great Danes. One of our puppies that we just had, that is Ruby in her lap, and then Octavia at her feet. Matter of fact, that is the sister to the one that you donated on Veterans Day, Bellamy.
Yep.
It's Bellamy's sister there. We started off with the Weimaraners, and we kind of, that was one of the things we talked about when we wanted to make one of our first decisions to get dogs together. We kind of gravitated to Weimaraners. They're a beautiful dog. They're an energetic dog. They're hunting breed, sporting breed. I myself don't hunt. I certainly don't train them. We do couch potatoes more than anything else. It's kind of our joke is, we supply pets. That's kind of our market. Teresa's always wanted Great Danes, so we kind of evolved into those. We get them from all over. This little one here came from Tennessee. We have a male, came from Tennessee, one of our females from Massachusetts. You know, so we get them from all over. Great Danes, we've gotten, was it Kentucky? Elsa came from Kentucky, so you know, all over. I can't tell you how many different states I've driven to in the last couple of years, picking up dogs or dropping them off.
It's actually the second time we've had a Great Dane on the show. For the viewers, this is our set. We always use this, but one other time we were off to our left. There's nice, comfortable chairs, little stage, but when you sit there and put a Great Dane in that small little area by the feet, there's just no room for you. So beautiful dogs.
Ponies.
Yeah, miniature ponies. Now, how do you choose who qualifies or who gets a dog?
So, I mean, through our breeding program, Teresa actually does a lot of training. We're affiliated with Good Dog, and they offer a lot of training. She's done a lot of work with the genetics end of it and the breeding of the Great Danes. You know, Weimaraners are kind of straightforward. They're silvers or they're blues. You know, Danes, you get all sorts of color patterns, and it's actually somewhat complicated who can breed with what. Another piece of that is the temperament, and that's really what she really focuses on when she does her interviews. You know, we want to make sure that the dogs end up with good homes, people that are prepared to deal with them. You know, Weims are a high energy breed, so, you know, you get a little nervous when you have first time buyers and you really spend a lot of time with them. You know, getting a dog back is somewhat of a traumatic thing. You know, and with the Danes, you know, their size is intimidating, and Teresa wants to make sure that everybody that, you know, understands what they're getting into. So she really spends a lot of time, puts a lot of work in interviewing folks. You know, what we really want to understand is people are ready for the dog, they're committed to the dog. It's a lot of work, and, you know, we want to make sure that they, you know, they start to, you know, train them and are ready for them and can really get them acclimated into their house.
Now, for the viewers, Teresa, is your wife.
My wife.
Also on the screen is your daughter, right?
Yes. Yeah. Emerson played a huge part in the donation. She was, you know, there from day one, and you know, and along with to just add on to what Tom was saying, you know, we didn't talk about it before. Teresa and I met happenstance. She was bringing one of her dogs to go get a checkup at the vet, and her dog pulled to my car, and that's how we met. And, you know, we started talking. They came over and brought some dogs over, you know, and introduced them into the Everlasting Veteran Dog Program. And along with them, you know, it's crucial. We have multiple different dogs here. Every veteran's needs different.
Yes.
Size-wise, the housing, physical needs. You know, you may have a Great Dane where the veteran may need somebody to lean on. You know, getting up but you also may have a veteran that may not be able to walk as well, and, you know, the Frenchies are smaller and be able to acclimate, you know, a little bit easier to that kind of environment. And that was one thing that I thought about when I created the dog program, is I wanted to make sure that I wasn't just supplying just one dog, because every veteran's needs is different.
You're looking for that perfect fit.
Correct. Yeah, and through the interview process, you know, I make sure I want to know that they're going to a good home.
Yep.
But I also want to make sure that they can physically handle the dog. That's a huge part.
That's what I got my service dog, is he was too much for the last guy to handle.
Yeah. And you know, you get a huge dog, and sometimes you know, maybe they had one when they were younger, but their physical needs, you know, they can't handle a larger dog. Octavia is a horse, not a dog.
Big enough car, too.
Yeah, a smart car will not fit that thing.
She's still growing, and she's not the biggest one. She's only 8 months old.
Only 8 months old. So that was one thing that I thought about, and I think it helps with adapting veterans into the dog program.
Playing matchmaker, do you work both sides of them so that they get together? Do you have just a good dog and then you find a veteran who needs a good dog?
Yeah, sometimes. I obviously feel out if the veteran can handle what dog breed we have available. And Tom will be able, right, and Tom will be able to jump into that as far as like the breeding and stuff goes. But as far as, pairing up with a veteran, sometimes, the last donation, I had them acclimate, because they didn't have a large dog, and so, and I also wanted the dog to be able to kind of get their scent. The foster parents that I had fostering the dog for me. In his kennel, we had the veteran's T-shirt to get acclimated with his scent. So there's a process that goes into it, so that way, we really are pairing the dogs with the proper person.
When it comes time for the first one-on-one, the dog already knows.
Right,
Yes.
right. And that's the thing is sometimes it may not work out, but, we have the capabilities to readjust and be able to get them fitted with the right dog.
We've actually run into that when we've had some folks over to pick up a puppy recently with one of the litters. The woman was really, really interested in male. That's what she wanted. She wanted a male. I want a male Great Dane. I want a male Great Dane. We always tell people, sometimes the dogs pick you. She came over and she was looking at the male. The male really didn't identify, didn't bond. But this female that we had gravitated, and this woman, was so surprised, and she went home with the female. I mean, that's one of the things that we always talk about is that the bonding and the strength that they do that. And sometimes what you think you want isn't, they don't pick you.
How many times do you see the commercials, for the shelters? May it be a cat, dog, whatever the pet that's in that shelter, they always pick. They're the ones picking. And that's important. Now, is there a waiting list right now?
Yep.
Starting to build one a little bit. So what normally happens is, obviously I rely on the breeders, Meadow Ridge and Rockin' Frenchies. We keep in communication of when litters, are coming out, and, the breeding and everything else. So there is a slight wait time, because the stork doesn't bring the dog down.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So, you have to go with nature,
Yes.
But once dogs are available, and we have, veterans lined up, then we're able to place them with the dogs.
Now, is it limited to just first responders and veterans, or do you do outreach with others?
Yeah, veterans and first responders. It's mainly so far it's been just veterans, and I want to make sure that I'm first and foremost when I started Everlasting Veteran wasn't just for veterans. It also has helped me being more involved in the veteran community, applying those lessons that we learned in the military of helping others, being there for your battle buddy, stuff like that.
You feel like you're not leaving somebody behind when you
Right.
set them up with success.
Yeah, and it's more than just the dogs. We dove into it a little bit before about the podcast, being able to talk about what works, what doesn't work. Biggest part of it is getting perspective, and being able to cumulatively together grow as a community.
Yeah.
Is the biggest thing.
And since you've committed to this, how many have you adopted out? Or
5.
placed?
So from June to December, there was 5 dogs to 5 veterans in 5 months.
I think you gave one Craig Amborn. Yeah.
Yes.
Shout out to Craig.
Yep, Craig. Yep.
He sent me, he posted a picture of him with the snuggle bug.
Yeah, so Craig cracks me up. Craig has got Green Bay Packers slippers with Toby's face on them. He's got a sweatshirt, Toby's face on it. He's got a blanket, Toby's face on it. So, which is from Rockin' Frenchies, my brother-in-law, donated, AKA Toby Keith. And he is a French bulldog, and he's a little bit older, a little bit more laid back. Each dog, even though it's the same breed, completely different personalities, you know. So that's how the pairing works. It was a perfect fit for him. He's, you know, the dog's a little bit chiller, more, you know, laid back and slow, and that's his lifestyle, you know.
As I'm listening to you tell the story about, you know, everything is Toby, you sit there and look at that. I mean, there was an instant impact on his life immediately.
Smile. Right on. As soon as you hand somebody a puppy, they smile. They can't, no matter what you've been through, that's still just visceral reaction.
Instant impact.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, when the individual, may it be a veteran or a first responder, went to the point where everything, T-shirts, you name it, is that dog.
Well, and even amongst vets, we always greet the dogs first. We'll get to the people later, but we're like, oh, it's Buddy. Hi, Buddy. You know, and like, hey, Bob. You know?
Yeah, and the great thing about that, you know, shout out to Veterans Rally Point and working with them, you know, and being able to connect with other veterans in the area.
Yeah.
That's really helped out significantly as well. And being able to provide a, you know, community area where, you know, we can get together and do these dog donations as well, you know. And, you know, when we went to go donate Toby to Craig, unbeknownst to me, he had no idea, you know. So he saw Toby and was like, oh my God, that dog is exactly what I'm looking for, you know. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, well, he's yours, you know. So I had a good conversation with him, and then I, you know, finally told him, I said, hey, you're going home with Toby today, you know. And you know, I keep in contact with him on a weekly basis.
Great success story.
Great success story. Norwich resident. I work in Norwich. He's right around the corner from me, so anything you need.
Just like the first show that we did not too long ago, these go by like this.
Oh yeah.
We're down to less than 2 minutes right now.
Speaking of donations, how do you fund your program?
So a lot of the donations and funding comes from either sponsorship from the podcast, businesses. I definitely have to give a shout out to the Home Depot for helping supply lumber and supplies for the new studio build.
And we will have your website
Yep.
under
And
on the screen.
Yep. And you know, with as far as recent dog food, Tractor Supply has been a huge help of donations of dog food. And
They gave us a
How can people get involved?
so they can go to everlastingveteran.com. All the information in which either the dog program, what Everlasting Veteran is doing, everything goes up on the website. Very user friendly. You can either buy supportive apparel, you know, to help support. You can go and check out whatever else we have going on. And, you know, I do have to, just today, a large donation came in from an unknown donor. So whoever you are out there, I truly appreciate your donation. And they strictly want to remain anonymous, even to myself.
You know, it's amazing the great strides that you've already accomplished in such a short period of time. It's going to be interesting to see where you are a year from now. You've already had five placements, I think it was?
5 placements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By this time next year, once the momentum picks up, it's really looking forward to getting an update.
Absolutely.
It's great to have folks like you on the show, organizations like you, that are just starting off and already experiencing great success. So with that being said, we've only got a few seconds left. It was a pleasure having you back again. Second part of a 2-part series here, plus you were here before.
Right.
We really want to get your word out to make sure that, you know, we can hopefully, you know, get it out there. YouTube, use those videos. Just look up YouTube, the Veterans Corner at Nutmeg TV. So with that being said, Octavia's going to do the closing, I guess. But anyways, to the viewers, I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for being here again. See you the next time on the Veterans Corner. Good night.
sometimes life just happens. Don't worry. Farmington Motorsports will get you back on the road and at a fair price. From towing to tires, emissions to transmissions.
Our ASC certified techs do it all.
Farmington Motorsports is a family-run business. We're a Napa Auto Center and AAA approved. We work on all makes and models from preventative maintenance to major repairs.
And every repair is backed by our 2-year, 24,000-mile nationwide warranty.
When life happens to you, don't worry. Farmington Motorsports.
I'm your host, Kurt Barwis. Today, I have a very special guest, Dr. Andrew Lim.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Veterans Corner. My name's Chuck Woodin.
Decision for ourselves for this week, if we want to be made well.
Hi, welcome to the crack of dawn. It's Dawn Lombardi. I'm starting the painting. It's going to be the clips with some water. Love it.
He took me on the sets of Lost in Space, Batman.
Everybody has a story. What's yours? Until next time.